Okay, so you know that you want to be a full time content creator, but maybe you're not yet sure what exactly you want to talk about. If you've been following along on my advice at all, or pretty much any other YouTube or business coach's advice, you'd know that niching down is really important when you are starting a career as a creator. That means having a topic, a core topic that you focus the majority of your content around. This helps audiences understand why they're there and start to build authority and trust in you. And it also just simplifies your life a lot because you can really get to know that niche, get to know that topic really, really well, and not be bouncing around from topic to topic to topic. But yeah, it's sometimes hard to decide what makes the most sense to hone in on. I personally have bounced around from beauty, believe it or not. That's how I started my YouTube channel, to more vlogging and lifestyle, to business, social media management, creation. Now, I've got two thoughts on this. First thing is you've got to choose a topic that you can talk about all day long for free, truly, especially when it comes to YouTube, but really when it comes to any of the social platforms. Being comfortable just rambling, just yapping is really important. You have to live and breathe this topic. You have to be ready to commit to living and breathing this topic for a while. YouTube doesn't happen overnight, but really none of the social media platforms do, except for occasionally TikTok. But even still, you have to be able to keep feeding that machine, meaning if you hate talking about cars, even if it's a profitable niche or it's a, popular niche, I don't recommend you talk about it if that's not what you like. So first, choose something that you love. Choose something you have experience in or some level of expertise. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have a college degree in it, but you should be willing to immerse yourself and educate yourself on that topic. Now, the second factor, yeah, it's money, right? If you want to be a full-time content creator, meaning you want to make a full-time living and income from doing this, you want to choose a topic that has some potential. There are topics and industries that are more kind of entertainment, just for fun. And then there are industries that have a lot of potential for a real true business model. So today I want to talk about 5 of the niches that I would seriously consider if I were starting my business, my content business over again today. And it's really based off of what I call the creator trifecta. To give you a little 101, the creator trifecta is basically a way to diversify your income streams. It's a service, it's a product, and it's a brand relationship. Most niches can adopt this sort of framework that I've used for my business, but some are easier than others. Some have more potential in those areas than others. And I want to be clear about the creator trifecta. This doesn't mean that in order to, make videos about health and wellness, you need to offer all 3 of those things immediately as soon as you start your first YouTube video. But this framework that I've built is meant to enable you to cycle through them and pivot when needed, when industries change, when seasons change, when your energy levels change, when audience demand changes. So you kind of have each of these 3 things in your back pocket that you can pull from and leverage when needed or desired. Okay, so first up, let's talk about personal finance and investing. This is a niche that I think has a lot of potential for all 3 points of the creator trifecta. It's also one that is sort of full of topic ideas, full of content ideas. You're not going to run out of ideas to talk about when it comes to personal finance. I think a creator who does really, really well at this is Caleb Hammer. He has a show where he interviews different people who are struggling with their personal finance and he gives them advice. And this format has lasted him, I don't know how many episodes he has, but it's been going for a while. And what's cool about this niche is that like everybody has a different take on it. He interviews people who are small business owners, people who are just graduating college, people who have really kind of messed up their finances, people who are making a lot of money and somehow still really struggling financially. Now, it doesn't hurt that he has a really animated presence and he is not afraid to ruffle feathers in his content. But even if you're going to take a more low risk, I guess you could say, approach like me and be a little bit more neutral and calm, I think there are still a lot of revenue opportunities for this niche. Now, something to note about this niche, at least as it pertains to YouTube, is that it has one of the highest CPMs or cost per mil out of all of the niches that we're going to talk about. And what CPM means in a nutshell is this is like how much YouTube AdSense is going to pay you for the ads that run on your videos. They're different for every niche. Some niches are very, very low because the audiences that tend to watch them tend to be low intent, tend to be maybe not of an age group where they have a lot of disposable income. But personal finance and investing tends to have pretty high CPMs because if you think about it, if you're seeking out a video called, best credit card interest rates, and before the video starts, you get an advertisement, a pre-roll for a travel credit card with great rewards and a great interest rate, you're probably going to click on it, right? And we know that financial industries, like they tend to make a lot of money. They're in the business of making money off of interest and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity for these companies to make money. So they're willing to pay more for ads on those types of channels. The same could probably be said for sponsorships as well. Brands who know that you are reaching this high intent, financially astute audience are probably more likely to pay you a good chunk of change to do a brand partnership with them than maybe like a $5 lip gloss brand, for example. So as I mentioned, I could definitely see revenue potential for all of those trifecta streams. You could do courses on financial investing. You could work with brands like Marcus, for example. They're my high yield interest savings account that I use. I've never done a brand partnership with them, but they do have an affiliate link that they offer me. So I'm sure if you're getting a lot of views and building a big audience around that, you could make a good chunk of change just from affiliate stuff, not to mention brand partnerships. But what I would recommend for this niche as a primary revenue stream is honestly leaning into that high CPM. Work on building a large audience, ideally on YouTube, because we know that YouTube pays the most, generally speaking, in its creator program. Work on building a big audience, casting a wide net and getting as many recurring viewers. And again, I think Caleb Hammer is a really great example of that. All right, next up is something that I can speak to personally, and that's business. My channel is primarily focused around business. Yes, I sprinkle little bits of life and beauty and fun and cooking and other things into it, but more or less people come here for business advice. And this is another great example of having a very high intent audience. When people type in how to become a social media manager, how to make a social media strategy, best CRM to use, they mean business. Like they are serious about what they are searching for. And generally speaking, like if you're searching for something about your business, you're not afraid to pull out your wallet and pay for it. I know I'm not. Like I shop so differently as Latasha the human and Latasha the CEO. For myself, I'm like overthinking for weeks if I'm going to buy a, $50 bag. But as a business owner, I will pull up my credit card and spend $1,000 in 5 minutes if it means that I'm going to make more money for my business from that transaction. So this niche is great for brand partnerships. I've compared my brand partnership rates to some of my friends who are in wider net type of niches like beauty or lifestyle or just entertainment, like funny videos. And honestly, I am able to charge quite a bit more, even if they have a lot more followers than me, generally speaking, because again, you think about that intent. You also think about the value of thought leadership. If somebody says, oh my gosh, this like Dr. Pepper tastes really good, and they're just kind of like a comedy YouTuber or TikToker, like how seriously are you weighting that opinion? Meanwhile, if you've been following me for years and I've been talking about marketing and content creation and business for years, and I say, hey, I love this tool. This tool is so helpful for me and my business. Like you're taking that opinion a lot more seriously than just a random person talking about Dr. Pepper, right? That was just like a random example. But yeah, I definitely think that This is one of those industries, those niches where you can charge a lot more for brand partnerships because it's about so much more than just the number of views. It's about thought leadership, it's about industry expertise. But I also think, obviously, there is a huge opportunity for your own service as a business owner. So I am somebody who provides multiple different services, but primarily it's business coaching and consulting, as well as done for you marketing and creative services for people. And if I look at my website traffic, 80 to 90%, just depending on the month, but anywhere from 80 to 90% of my website traffic to these services that I offer, as well as my courses, comes from YouTube. It comes from YouTube. So, if you are a social media manager, talk about how small businesses can use Facebook events to get more people in the door. Talk about how to use Facebook ads to generate more leads and sales. Like, show up as the expert that you are. And of course, this doesn't just have to do with social media management, it can be literally any service that you provide, but talk about that industry expertise. And this is like general advice for pretty much all of these niches, but I often get the question like, how do you get them to want to pay you for a service or a course or whatever that might be? How do you not just give everything away for free? And I try to follow this general framework, which is in my YouTube videos, I'm sharing the what and the why. So I might share like what Facebook Ads Manager is, why you need to set up a Meta Business Suite account, why you should be on YouTube. And then in the one-on-one consulting or the course or the service or whatever is where I'm actually going to do the thing and actually set that up for them or actually, create that video for them and so on and so forth. So yes, services are definitely huge for business, and the business niche is full of opportunities from affiliate marketing to sponsorships to courses to services and probably more, but those are the big ones. Creative people, if you are looking to finally turn your passion into real revenue and long-term success, I want to invite you to my free class. It's called The Business of Influence, and it's all about helping creatives like you build a profitable and sustainable creative business. In this class, you're going to learn some practical strategies for figuring out which business model is the right fit for your goals. You're going to learn how to build a business plan that gives you freedom and flexibility, and you'll get the confidence you need to just start and move forward with clarity and without overthinking. We all know that I do it. I know a little bit about overthinking, but I also know a little bit about making money. I've earned 6 figures plus in each of the tiers of what I call the creator trifecta. So this is a totally free class. I'm going to give you all of the tea about how I've been able to scale those income streams and how you can too. Be sure to click the link down in the show notes to save your seat and start learning. Okay, software and tech is another one, kind of similar to business. When we think about that high intent audience, again, I shop very differently for myself than I do for my business. I will spend $1,000 easily for my business for, a app, a tool, a website, not so much for myself. So there's definitely that opportunity. And I also think that there is a big learning curve. There's a big education piece to this niche. When I onboard to a new tool, often the first thing that I do is I go to YouTube and I look for real people who can tell me in their own real simple terms how to use this. Because a lot of times I find that the tool websites themselves are like complicated. Like I don't know, they just don't work with my brain. I need to find somebody who kind of speaks my language, who I like the way that they talk, I like the way that they explain things, or maybe even just can share like a more real perspective. I know one of my most popular HoneyBook videos is how I use HoneyBook as a social media manager. Because I notice like a lot of people who use HoneyBook are photographers or they're kind of like in the events industries. And so a lot of the examples that HoneyBook showed, at least at the time that I first started using it, were, around those topics. And it was just hard for me to conceptualize how it could make it work for me and my business. So I made a video like that and it went bonkers. It did so well. One of the ways that it went bonkers and that I made a lot of money from it was through affiliate income. Again, this is a huge place where this niche could make a lot of money. But another revenue opportunity for this niche is courses and actually selling people and teaching people how to use these tools and systems on their own. Now, this channel that I want to share is actually a little bit more in the business niche, but they do go into software and techniques as well. So I think you could easily kind of copy their strategy for yourself and just do more around specific tools if you wanted to. But Flux Academy, they teach web design. And, they talk about specific tools a lot, like Framer and Figma and all of these things that I don't really know what they are because I'm not in the web design space. But they do a great job of sharing tutorials, sharing examples about these products in particular. And if they wanted to do a whole Figma course, they could. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I do know that they do a web design course, several of them. And, do really well with their course sales. So I think that would be my primary revenue stream if I were focused on software and tech, would be courses. Now, honestly, if you leaned more into tech in terms of hardware, like somebody like in iJustine, for example, or just a camera account, which there are so many of them out there that I love and watch all the time, I would probably lean heavily into affiliate marketing, meaning that you are linking things and getting percentages of sales for the actual hardware that you recommend. And again, software, SaaS tools, also a lot of them offer affiliate income. So diversify that way. That's what I would do. The next niche that I want to talk about is real estate. Once again, what do we have in common here, right? We're talking about things that are really serious to people, that are high intent, that are, big sales. They're not $5 lip gloss. And again, I'm sorry, I don't want to like trash the beauty niche because there is absolutely a lot of money to be made in that niche if you are passionate about it and knowledgeable about it. That's how I started my YouTube career. So please make beauty videos if you like them. But yeah, a $5 million house or even a $500,000 house or even heck, a $50,000 investment property or lot or something like that is a lot different than a $5 or $15 lip gloss. So this niche has a lot of potential in terms of advertising income. You're going to see probably less income from sponsorships just because, unless you're, I don't know, working with like a big home developer in your area or something like that, which might even go against like real estate licensing, if that's something that you want to do. I'm not sure of the rules around that. Like, there's probably not going to be a ton of sponsorship opportunities unless you're really casting a wide net and getting a huge audience and talking more about like generalized real estate trends. But I digress. I think the main place where you're going to make money with real estate content is through the actual service of being a realtor. There's a great example of this. This is a guy who I started watching when I first bought my house several years ago. His name is Paul Wolfer, and he does videos all about Detroit, Metro Detroit suburbs. And he is so entertaining. Like, he has really nailed the art of one, capturing beautiful footage of beautiful homes, and two, just being really entertaining and educational. I remember I was moving out of downtown Detroit and I was trying to decide, which town or city, like within the general region I wanted to move to. And since I didn't grow up out here, I grew up on the other side of the state. I really needed a lot of education, and he does a great job of educating you on which suburbs are the best, which parts of the city are the best, and is just really helpful. And he also can be a realtor for you. So if you like his videos and you binge his videos like I did, and you want to actually work with him and have him help you find a home or sell your home, you can do that. I think another one that I'll just add really quickly as like a 4.5, it's similar to real estate, is travel. It's a kind of similar type of industry, and there are a lot of different travel agent services now. One is called Fora, where you can become a travel agent and help people book their travel when you show off these destinations. So maybe a little bit less lucrative than real estate, selling a $500,000 or $1 million home. But I still think there is a lot of potential there. And it's kind of a similar type of like lifestyle marketing. Okay. And then the last one that I want to talk about is health and wellness. Now, I made a video a while back about the best social media management niches to tap into. And I talked about, listen, there are three kind of areas that people are always going to pay for: their health, wealth, and relationships. And we've talked about most of those things. At least most of these niches that we've talked about can tie into one of those three categories, some of them multiple, right? And health. Health is one that people will always pay for, even in a down economy. Yes, they might scale back on it a little bit, but actually, I think that's one of the reasons why health and wellness is maybe even more important in in a down economy, in an economy where people are being a little bit more thrifty because they might stop paying for their gym membership. But if you teach them how to work out at home, like they're going to be super grateful for that. They might not have the money to pay for an actual dietitian, but they might watch your YouTube videos and learn about the proper way to fuel their bodies and get fresh, healthy recipes, especially if they're available on a budget. One of my favorite creators in the health and wellness space is Abby Sharp. I think she is such a good example of, again, being super entertaining, but also being extremely knowledgeable. She is a registered dietitian, so she's giving this advice, sharing these, videos from a very knowledgeable thought leadership perspective, but she also has a lot of fun with the videos and keeps them light and entertaining. Again, the opportunities for this niche are very abundant, right? If Abby wanted to actually offer one-on-one registered dietitian sessions, I don't really know what you call that technically, but if she wanted to do that, she absolutely could. She could also develop a product, a course about this topic, or she could write a book. I think she maybe has a book or course. I'm not sure. I'll show whatever she has on the screen here. Abby Sharp has also launched her own product, a physical product. She has like protein powders and things like that, which I think is really quite interesting and fun. But if I were starting out in this niche, I would probably leverage brand relationships first and foremost, because there are so many different angles that you could work, for brand sponsorships and affiliate income. If you did workout, fitness content, you could reach out to fitness apparel companies, you could reach out to supplement companies if you lean more into the food space or the general education space. You could reach out to gyms and fitness centers and Pilates studios and so on and so forth. Course creators, become an affiliate for them. Like there's so many different types of brands that you could reach out to and pitch to make brand sponsorship money or affiliate income that way. I know Abby Sharp has sponsors for most of her videos. So again, she's a great example of that, but she truly has diversified and kind of hit on all three of those things, at least at one point in her career. So those are 5 of the niches that I would seriously consider if I were a content creator just starting out. But of course, like I said, make sure it's something that you're passionate about, make sure it's something that you're knowledgeable about and that you could talk about all day long, regardless of how much money it makes. I think that really is the key to content creator success. And if you want to learn more, check out my additional resources down below. I've got plenty of content creator monetization resources for you. I'll link them and let me know if you have any questions about these niches or anything else. And I'll talk to you in my next episode. Bye.